afternoon is become a very busy afternoon at Leamington. And because it's a very busy afternoon, it's because we have to do publishing day. And publishing day is nothing more than we do when we go publish some books over there, and we do many selected kukunges. And really, publishing is most easy than anything else. Now, today we need to go to the Bimby Drudges today, and the Bimby Drudge has some very fair auctioning. And that will be later tomorrow afternoon when you come tomorrow afternoon. And we will go downstairs because I have chorus with the paintings for 10 to 15 minutes. And then we have to do publishing day. Now, we're going to do chorus first because I was going to do second, just they're almost done being open, so I don't want to do it when they're still closed, okay? Now, any reminders? Yes, it will be fairly loud, okay? Now, if it's fairly loud, there's earplugs because the Bimby Schooners' twin sister is going to be there. Everyone's going to be there to listen to chorus. I have to take chorus, and the paintings are waiting for us downstairs. Okay, now before we go, I need to remind you a few things, okay? I need to remind you something about housing of Unge. Now, housing of Unge is not a personal and critical idea, but it needs someone to be helpful. So what we're going to do is we're going to go back, and then we're going to do a regular thing. And then we're going to come back here. Now, I have thousands of books, and believe me, one of my books is going to be about shekels. I know you've all seen this thing before. This is like a grand match hood, shekel hood. And if you didn't want to have it right, you could open it, play the game, and inside is a book. And we're going to get to play the game at the end of the illustration. So we need to line up here in a few minutes. I need to remind you one more thing. Now, the other thing is, if you misbehave, Joseph Miller will be not afraid to take you downstairs, which will go down there first, because I have to take course, okay? With my gallery performers, my theories, and my theories. Well, my theories are just going to watch. Okay, now we all need to get lined up because we need to go to downstairs because I have everything set up down there. Okay, so why don't we go? I need to just drop this off on the way, okay? So is everybody ready? Okay, come on. Okay, now why don't you go downstairs? I'll be right with you. I just need to put this away. Okay, never mind about that. I'll pick it up later. Okay, so now we can go downstairs. Now, I need you all to sit down. We're just doing random songs today, okay? Just regular songs, okay? So I need you all to sit down. You can listen for a few minutes before we need to go and do our illustrations, okay? Okay, paintings, are you ready? Did you find a seat? Okay, very kind. Why didn't I start, okay? all welcoming today. I'm really happy that you're here with us today. So, now, the first song that we're going to do is we're going to do as really as play, okay? So remember how to sing the song, okay? So let me start playing it for you, and then you'll sing the song. So let me sing it first, and then you repeat. As weary as clay in the time of the French, in the end, in the morning of tyranny, in the end, in a song where we set our feet, as weary as clay. Okay, so that is the song. So now you need to repeat it on the keyboard. Now we're going to sing this starting, okay? Okay. That's the starting. Now, here I kind of changed my accent. Changing my accent. You're right. Yo, I was changing yo to yo. Okay? I'd like you to listen again. Okay, I don't think everybody was ready, okay? Okay. Wise and Old, okay? So why don't I play that? I know you probably know Wise and Old, okay? I'm young and old and young and wise. I'm young and old and young and wise. I'm sung and might and sung and might, wise and old. Okay, so that is the song. And then this is the story, remember. Another beautiful song that you could sing for many varieties of things. Now we have one more song to do before we need to go to the hallway. Now this song was written by the name of Il Frostini. And Il Frostini was a very famous composer. And he made a song called Cut and Come. Now, Cut and Come is really a name that people think is a latest name, but you're wrong. Okay, so here we go. So, I'm sure you did this before. Okay, everybody, is everybody ready? Potato. Just play it with one hand because I can't play it with two hands. That was really pretty, okay? And on how you do that, okay? Now, we need to go to the hallway to start our illustrations, okay? Okay, so why don't we come this way? Now, are you all ready? Okay, I need you to be ready. This way, please. Okay. Now, why don't you all sit down? I'll find somewhere to put this. Okay, there we go. Now, I need you to come sit down. Now, today is our big day of books. And the reason I say books is because these are books. Now, these are books about roly-poly. There are also books about One Snowy Night. Now I'm going to read a few to you, and then we're going to converse about them. Okay, with my Tiger Journal. So, now, this is a book about Froggy, and this is another book about Vero. This is Rabbit and Coyote, okay? Now, I'm going to read you this story, and then we're going to write something down on my journal, okay? So, I'm going to read it to you, okay? This is how you do it. Okay. Rabbit and Coyote. This is a story from Mexico my mother told me. She heard it from her parents who came to this country as immigrants. Soon after they married, they worked very hard and they had 2 children. One of them, my mother, is now an engineer. The other, my uncle, He is a teacher. My grandparents told me the story to their children, who told to their children, and I will tell it to mine. Like my grandparents, the immigrants, this story has traveled far from its home. Who knows when it started or where it will travel next? Now, when people in this country look at the full moon, they see a face of the man of the moon, they call him. But when people in Mexico look at the same moon, they see a rabbit. I will tell you how the rabbit got on the moon. One night the moon shone down on a field of chili peppers, and in that field of chilies was Rabbit eating the biggest and juiciest ones. Quadrilistros, how delicious, Rabbit said as he munched. Surely Bear grows the best chilies in all of Mexico. But Bear was very angry when he saw that someone had been eating his chilies. He was determined to catch the thief, so he decided that he'd set up a trap. He made a bear out of beeswax, which is very soft and sticky. He put the beeswax bear right beside a plant loaded with plump chilies. That evening, Rabbit returned to the field to get some more chilies for his supper. Good evening, Bear, he said politely to the beeswax bear. Do you mind sharing some of your fine chilies with me? The bear didn't say anything. Rabbit said some other nice things to the bear as well. But no matter what he said or how often he said it, the beeswax bear stood there. It was as silent as a stone. Now, do you think a beeswax bear would talk? No, it wouldn't. Rabbit got very angry at the bear. Rubbness. Bear, I hate to say this, but your mother had taught you no manners. Or do you think you are too important to speak to me? He asked, pushing the bear's chest. His paw stuck fast. Quasi piso. It was a surprise. Rabbit had not expected this. He pushed the bear with his other paw, then with his two back feet. In no time at all, Rabbit was so stuck that he could hardly twitch his nose. In the morning, Bear went to his field. When he saw Rabbit, he said, "What a fine big rabbit you are, and what a wonderful meal you will make." Bear put Rabbit in a sack and carried him home over his shoulder. There he set a pot of water onto boil, throwing in some chilies and some potatoes. Then he went to tell his wife and his children to get ready for a feast. Now, I don't know if they're having dinner or breakfast. Let's find out. While Bear was gone, Coyote came by. As soon as Rabbit saw him, he got an idea. Before Coyote could say a word, Rabbit spoke up. "Coyote, you're inviting to a feast. Look, Bill and I had chilies and potatoes cooking in a pot. I am keeping the bread inside the sack warm. Why don't you take my place so I can come home to get my gavel? Then we would have good music as well as good food. Coyote gladly did as Rabbit suggested. He let Rabbit out of his sack and climbed in to take his place. Bill soon returned. When he saw that Rabbit was gone, he was very angry. Coyote, you put your nose where it does not belong. I will teach you to mind your own business, he said. Then the flung Coyote into the pot of water. As you can imagine, Coyote jumped out of the pot like a shot. He ran off, very wet and very angry. He vowed not to rest until he found Rabbit. Soon, Coyote came to a hill. On the hill was a rock, and leaning against the rock was Rabbit. I've got you now, Coyote said. But Rabbit said, Oh, I'm not going anywhere. Can't you see that if I don't hold back this rock, it will roll down the hill and crush like villages? Here, you take my place while I go for help. Coyote wondered if Rabbit was trying to fool him again. But then Rabbit said, Hurry! There's no time to waste. So again, Coyote took Rabbit's place. I didn't take Coyote long to realize that Rabbit had tricked him again. Off he went looking for Rabbit and looked and he looked and looked until the sun sank from the sky. Now the full moon made the night almost as bright as the day. So Coyote had no trouble seeing Rabbit sitting on the shore of a lake. Hello, Coyote, said Rabbit as the angry Coyote approached him. I'm so sorry I made you angry. Let me make it up to you. Let's forget the past and be friends. Rabbit went on. I just collected a little bit of honey. I will share it with you. Coyote still had his doubts, but he was hungry, and the honey looked delicious. So he sat down to eat with Rabbit. In fact, the honey was so delicious that Coyote almost ate it all up. Then he felt bad that he had taken most of Rabbit's honey. Don't worry, said Rabbit. There's more honey right there in the hole of a tree. Just reach in and get a full jar for us. There's nothing to it. Now Coyote had never collected honey before. So he just grabbed the jar and dumped it deep into the hole in the tree. He filled the whole jar with honey, but suddenly something stung him. Then something stung him again. Before he knew it, he was covered with bee stings. They really hurt. Rabbit had tricked him again. Rabbit was a smart fellow. he knew Coyote would never forgive him now. He knew he had to go far away from Coyote. Luckily, deep in the hills was a ladder that reached the moon. The world's greatest engineer must have built the ladder. Rabbit knew just where the ladder was. Up the ladder he hopped, and it took him almost a night to get to the moon. From way up there he looked down. There was Coyote still hunting for him. Rabbit laughed. Coyote heard him and looked up when he saw Rabbit. He howled with anger. He began looking for a way to get to the moon. To this day, coyotes roam the hills looking, and to this day, Rabbit sits up there on the moon laughing. Will Coyote ever find the ladder? Why, suppose. Who knows? Maybe, maybe not. If he does, watch out, Rabbit. Until then, Coyote will never stop roaming the hills and howl at Rabbit up on the moon. The end. Now, what detail did you learn from this story? Because it was a long story. Now, I hope you were listening. Yes, you're right. Well, it was a very good story. I enjoyed, and it was wonderful. And one of the most interesting faculties of that was that he could find his way towards the moon. Okay? So that is that story. Okay, now, these stories here, this is another good story of mine. This is something called One Snowy Night. Okay, that's what this book is called. Snowy Night. So, now what we're going to do is we're going to read this book. And this detail will tell you a little bit about the faculty enjoymencies of it. Because sometimes when you listen to books, you sometimes forget. Okay? This is something called One Snug Evening. One Snug Night. Okay, now, before we read this book, let's talk a little bit about the picture. Now, I'd like you to just feel this, because it is a piece of fabric with a hat, okay? And the hat is on his head, of course, because it looks like it's on his head. Now, we're going to read this book, and I want you to enjoy yourselves when you're listening to the book, okay? Okay. The cold wind woke little hedgehog from his deep winter sleep. He blew his blanket of leaves high into the air, and he shivered in the snow. Suddenly, something fell from the sky. Now, we're going to stop there because what do you think fell from the sky? Yes, you're right. Now, really, on the front cover, they have a hat, and that might fall from the sky, but let's find out. Thund. It was a present, and it had his name on it. Now, look at him. He looks excited, doesn't he, because the present came down from the sky. Inside was a red woolly hat, hedgehog size. Now, we knew that was coming in the present, okay? And look, it's hedgehog size. Now, if I was in there, it wouldn't probably fit me. Okay. He put it on at once. He pulled it to the back and to the front, to one side and the other. But the prickles got in the way every time. Now the heart was stretched too big for a little hedgehog. He wrapped it up again, tore a piece of the label, and wrote to the rest. Then off he ran to Rabbit's house. Now, what do you think? What feelings do you think? How does he feel about what he just did? Well, I wouldn't call it terrible. Okay, well, he was very upset because if you're looking for a perfect hat, you need to look for one that fits you, and this didn't. He was not being a very good citizen when he was doing that. He wrapped it up again, tore a piece of the label, and wrote to the rest. Then off he went to Rabbit's house. Rabbit was out, so he left the present on the doorstep. It was snowing hard as Little Hedgehog tried to find his way back home. So, what do you think, what is he going to do when he gets home? Do you know? Yes, he's going to call his friend Rabbit wherever he is, probably. Rabbit squeaked with delight when he saw the present. "A woolly hat," he cried, "for me." So now he got the present. And so what is he going to find out after he got the present? Yes, you're right. He's going to find out that he stole his present, and the hedgehog would get mad at him probably. He tried the hat on with his ears inside, then outside. He pulled it this way and that way, but his ears got in the way every time. By now, the hat was too far big for Rabbit, so he took it to Bulger. So now it's not going to fit Bulger right, because they're taking it to so many places and they want to look for the perfect one, don't they? What about that Bulger? He looking in the mirror? Very nice, said Rabbit. What did you say? Asked Bulger. Very nice, yelled Rabbit, hopping off. So now he is admiring himself, but I hope he doesn't be vain about himself. Let's be careful when you're looking in the mirror. Don't you like it? Asked Bulger, twirling around, but Rabbit had gone. I can use this hat, Bulger said. I can heal a thing. So Bulger wrapped up the present and munched off for Fox's house. So that kind of confuses me. Do you think he's happy or sad or not complaining about the hat? We'll find out. Fox was going out exploring. What's this? He asked. Bulger grumpily. A Christmas present. Why would I want a Christmas present? But when Fox saw that cozy red hat, he made 2 holes in his ears and put them on. Pleased, he went on his way. So he's pleased about the hat. He's not complaining about how big or small it is. The fields twinkled in the moonlight. Fox followed a small trail, this way and that way, until suddenly it stopped. There was something under the snow. So, what do you think was under the snow? Wait, it couldn't have been the hat because the hat was, he had the hat on. So it may be rabbit or fox. Let's find out. Fox dug and dug. Now, I'm lying about that. Fox dug and dug until he found a small hedgehog. We have the mystery. It was cold and did not move. Poor little fellow, said Fox. He put the hedgehog inside his woolly hat and carried it to Rabbit's house. So, he's taking him to Rabbit's house because the hedgehog doesn't know where he's going because he didn't ask for instructions. Rabbit and Bogo were having supper. Look what I found in the snow, cried Fox, bursting in. So now we know that he is looking for something. It's my friend, Little Hedgehog, cried Rabbit. He must have gotten lost home in the snow. Hello, said Little Hedgehog sleepily. Oh, this is such a lovely warm blanket. Said Bogle. I think the woolly hat is just right for Little Hedgehog. Merry Christmas, Little Hedgehog. They all cried, but Little Hedgehog was fast asleep. Now, the reason it said they're crying is because they're happy, they're not sad for Hedgehog. So that's the end of that story. Now let me read the back to you. One snowy Christmas, a cold little hedgehog wakes from his winter sleep to find a present from Father Christmas. It's a snug, woolly red hat, just what he needs. But when Little Hedgehog tries to wear the woolly hat, it prickles. Get in the way and it won't fit. Then Little Hedgehog has a wonderful idea. Okay, so that is that story, but there were also other books. And other books such as chapter books. Now we don't have time to read chapter books to you. Now we have a Thomas book. Now this is Thomas and the Great Discovery. Looking at the pages. Okay, basically that's what it is. Okay, so we can read this book. And then we're going to go in the sunroom because I need to have you write some things out. Okay? Okay, here we go. So this is Thomas and the Great Discovery. Thomas and the Great Discovery, it says. It was a beautiful day on the island of Solo. Thomas was high in the hills, bringing some freight cars to the wharf. And an unfamiliar junction, he saw an old overgrown track that looked like a shortcut. Soon he was rattling down the steep track. No one had been down here for a very long time, he huffed. Then Thomas gasped, visiting fireboxes. Now that's a Thomas expression. Now, let's stop there for a second because I want to tell you something. Now, he's surprised because that town was Great Waterton. I've read this book before when I watched the movie before, and it says Great Waterton. Okay? Let's find out. He had arrived at a station. It too was overgrown, twisty, and very old. There was crumbling platforms, and the station building was covered in ivy. Thomas had never seen such an amazing sight. What a funny place to have a station, he peeped, and looked around some more. There are so many buildings. It looks like an old town, he cried. I cannot wait to tell everybody about this. So that's basically his discovery. Okay, let's find out. So Thomas bumped and bashed along the old track and finally made his way down to the wharf. The next day, the news of Thomas' discovery was all over Sodo. So Topham Hatt wanted to visit the hidden town at once. So he's excited to go there, isn't he? Thomas, you made a wonderful discovery. This was the town of Great Waterton, with steam engines first came to Sodo. So Topham Hatt said, this was an important town. It was called Great Waterton because the springs here provided water for everybody on the island. Why does no one live here now? Thomas puzzled. The springs ran dry, and the people left to live in the new towns. The maps were lost. Everybody thought the towns of Great Waterton were lost forever too. But now it is found, shouted Thomas. And if we work hard, answered Topham Hatt, we can have a restoration of the town on Sodo Day. In no time, all of Thomas Sodo was working hard to fix the Great Waterton because Thomas had discovered the town. So Topham Hatt put in his change of all the repair work. It was also Thomas' responsibility to explore all the old tracks around Great Waterton. Thomas liked checking old lines, and he liked being to engage. He wanted to show everybody it could do anything. So that's basically what his discovery was and what he did. Okay, so if Thomas's discovery wasn't working out, then he wouldn't have to go there. But now he did. Okay, so now we need to go back and we need to get all our books that we did today. Okay? And we need to go back. Now, what we're going to do when we go back is we're going to write some predictions on the whiteboard, okay? So why don't we go back? Okay? So, I need you to come with me, please. And when we go back, we're going to sit down, everybody, and we're going to make some predictions. So let me sit this down and put this up here. Okay, let me just get it organized. So, now what we can do is we can start making our predictions. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to start out making predictions about the book. Wait, we already read it, and now we're going to do whatever we need. So we're going to write about what these books that we just read in the other room were about. So why don't I go grab a pen? Oh, there it is. Okay. And now we're going to write about what these books were about. Okay? So this is called One Snowy Night. We're going to start with One Snowy Night. So we're going to label our pages. Let me just go label our pages. And put One Snowy Night. One Snowy Night. Okay, so what was the main idea? Yes, the woolly red hat. And what was it also about? The little hedgehog. The little hedgehog. And what's the other one about? Trying to fit it on the hedgehog's head. Now, what were his friends' names? Okay, Bogo was one of them. And Fox, Rabbit, and finally, Hedgehog. Okay, so that explains a little bit about our story. So we have One Snowy Night, the woolly red hat, the little hedgehog, trying to fit it on the hedgehog's head. Badger, Bogle, Fox, Rabbit, and finally, finalmente, Hedgehog. Okay, that's our details about that book. Now, what about this book? Where is it? Let me see. Okay, Rabbit and Coyote. Okay, Rabbit and Coyote. So, what was the main idea? What was the story called? Oops. We all make accidents. Okay, let me turn to a different page so I can... Okay, Rabbit and Coyote. Coyote. Okay, now what was the main idea of the story? Okay, the chilly moon. Now, not chilly moon like it's chilly. Now, there's three kinds of chilies. The first one discovered was the coldness. The second one discovered was the food. The last one discovered was the pepper. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to make another. So what are the main characters? Rabbit and Coyote. Everglades Rabbit and Coyote as far as I'm concerned. I-O-D. Rabbit and Coyote. Okay. Now, what were they, what was the problem? Yes, that was one of the problems. He was mad at the beeswax bill. He was mad at the beeswax. Beeswax. Oh, sorry, I stuttered. Beeswax bill. Finalmente. Okay, now let's turn further into the story. And let's find out what happened. Yes, you're correct. He was covered in bee stings. Covered in bee stings. Okay, that is that story. Now we have to get to the great discovery story. Alright. The great discovery. The great... You could put the greatest discovery ever, but I choose to just put non-descriptive. The great... Yes, I am descriptive, yes, but I just want to make it brief today. The great discovery. Discovery. Okay, now what were the main characters? Thomas and Sir Topham Hatt. So, Topham Hatt. Okay, now what was the discovery? The town of Great Waterton. Great Waterton. And what was the main idea? Yes, the discovery. That's an easy one. And that's all there is. What was the problem? It was overgrown. It was overgrown. Okay. Those are all 3 stories written. I have one more here today. And what we need to do, I have the next one somewhere. We need to read one more story. Okay? We need to read one more story. So why don't we come here? Okay, let me just get the darn camera. There we go. Okay, is everybody ready? Okay, are we ready to go? Alright, let's go back. Alright, let me set this down again. And now we need to read one more story. This is going to be a brief one. This is called, let me see if I can find one. We're going to read Snow White. Now, I know I've read Mirror, Mirror on the Wall. No, it's not actually Mirror, Mirror on the Wall. This is actually Snow White, Mirror, Mirror. So, this is the real Snow White. And I will show you the pictures. And like every other person, I have Snow White at the dimension, don't I? Okay, let's read it. Mirror, Mirror, the movie storybook. Now she's coming back for Christmas. Once there lived a princess named Snow White. She was good and kind, and her father, the king, loved her very much. But the king also loved Snow White's stepmother. The beautiful queen was jealous of the princess, and when the king disappeared into the dark woods, never to be heard from again, Snow was left to be raised by the woman who disliked her most. She's not going to be very nice, is she? Snow tried to stay out of the queen's way, but when the queen hosted a fancy costume ball, Snow simply had to attend. And there she was swept of her feel to be a handsome prince, and he gifted Snow along the dance floor. The bliss, I have disappeared in a long time, she said. The prince smiled. Well, it is thing to give you a plenty of practice this evening. Snow looked into his eyes and knew she had found her once true love. Now they're going to marry, aren't they? Because she loves him. Remember the beloved story of a queen and a wife when they get married. The queen was famous. She had decided to marry the prince himself. Get her out of here, the queen shouted to her guards. She's not very nice, but she looks very pretty. Snow struggled as she was dragged from the castle. The queen smiled. Come now, Snow, she called. It's important to know where you have been. Okay, I guess she's not going to have a good time, is she? Snow found herself banished to the dark woods. She became very frightened, and she ran. The forest seemed to come alive until the shadows crawled along the forest floor. Soon her fear whispered her, and she fell to the ground. She's not in good balance right now, is she? But just when all seemed lost, 7 small men came upon the princess. They carried them home and watched over her until at last she awoke. The queen sent me out here. I have nowhere to go, cried Snow. She's lost and concerned, but happy people found her. The dwellers introduced themselves to Snow. Their names were Grin, Butcher, Handcuff, Shock, Wolf, and Nippon and Glove. The donkeys roared and decided it let Snow stay with them. Snow continued to tell her a sad story. Even lost father, the kingdom, and the men I love, cried Snow. And I'm not strong enough to stand up to the queen. So she's too afraid to do that, isn't she? The dwarf named Grin looked at finally in the eye. People say you can be tall if you shout, that we can't be strong if we're not. But a weakness is only a weakness if you think of it that way. Snow smiled. Perhaps you are right. Back at at the castle, the queen tried to make the prince fall in love with her by slipping a log potion into his drink. He took one sip and immediately began to roll around the floor and nip off her heels. The queen was confused. She checked the pony's label. "Puppy love," she cried. "What am I supposed to do with the puppy?" She's concerned, but look how beautiful she looks. A few days later, the dwarves returned home from a hunt with some big news. "Snow," called Grin, "you won't believe who we've caught in a trap." Snow came running only to find the prince tied up and weeping. "Please take me back to my precious queen, I beg you," she cried. Snow was stunned. Could the fool be a man she had fallen in love with? Well, let's find out. We'll see. Grin shook his head. He must be under some kind of spell. "Does anyone know how to break a spell?" asked Snow. The drivers tried everywhere they could think of, but nothing worked until Nippon had an idea. "I don't know why I didn't think of it before. And napping, a kiss, the kiss of true love is always what frees someone from a spell." And as Snow knocked down to next the prince and closed his eyes, "Softly," she whispered, "come back to me, please." And then she kissed her. Okay, so that's the love story of Mirror Mirror, the movie storybook. So that is basically it. I hope you had a wonderful time doing it today. And we will get to the prediction real quick. Okay, so we will get the prediction tomorrow. Okay? Okay. So why don't we come this way, okay? Are you ready? Okay. Why don't you do this? Okay. I really enjoyed. And now we have to go, okay? So I hope you had a really good time. And I'll see you tomorrow. Okay? So why don't you go out? And I hope you enjoyed yourselves today. Okay, wound. And that is my invention of my wonderful illustration passage. And until I see you in the guts again, I'm Julie Eskinwall. Wound.